I'm Bill McCann, and I'm from the USA. I was brought up in a wonderful home, so much so that even at the age of 4 and 5, I would go to bed at night on my bunk bed, and the presence of God would come. I could clearly see, it was like the sparkling of a stained glass window, and he would come and just stay with me. And so as a child, I knew who God was. I knew, and I just stayed in his presence. Later on in life, I was faithful. I loved God. I loved going to church. I loved being part of the family traditions of the Advent and lighting the candles and saying the phrases and just honoring God in our family. And our community was beautiful. It was a little country town, and everybody knew each other, and it was a great place to grow up. But then something intruded in on that peacefulness. Somebody came in and caused a lot of harm to a whole generation of young boys who was in a position of authority, and he molested many of them. And it brought in confusion, shame, guilt, secrecy, all kinds of things that we never had to deal with before. And so with that confusion, many of us ended up down the track of numbing our pain with drugs. We probably would have dabbled in it anyways, but we went deep. Many of them, I'm not sure, have ever come out. Some of their lives are ravaged by it. But for some kind reason, the Lord pursued me. And every step of the way, I knew that God was real. In high school, I went to a party, and it was my premier moment. It was like I was coming of age for me. I was in this basement with a pool table and beers flowing freely and people talking and everybody hanging out and smoking and free to do whatever we wanted. And in the middle of this glory moment for me, the girl that I thought was the prettiest girl ever walked up to me and said, "Hey, I heard your mom was healed by Jesus." And it was like, how could you bring him in here? She had no church background, no sense of guilt. It was just a fact that happened, and it went through our whole community. And literally Jesus came into our house and healed my mom's arm that was shattered. And as a kid, I witnessed this. I saw what happened, and then I heard the testimony of that my mother saw the face of Jesus and how he touched her arm and how the doctor said that it was a new bone. And the x-rays, he gave her all the x-rays. And so even as I got more into escaping the guilt, I became violent, and I got arrested for vandalism. I had to go to the judge. I drank myself so drunk one time with my friends that I got shipped off to a hospital. My blood alcohol level was way beyond. They had to pump me out, keep me there for a while, and just there was anger and bitterness. I one day I even just walked up to a kid in school, totally innocent, and just punched him in the face, just violent and frustrated. And then a couple things, other things happened that God made himself real. My brother almost died from playing football in triple sessions. We had to come back from vacations. He was home doing double sessions at the high school, and he was in the hospital already. He had something like triple pneumonia or something, and I could tell because we left vacation and how serious my parents were talking, he was going to die. It was like this was death. And they had this special church service that my parents went to. It was called a charismatic mass. And as a young kid, I knew the presence of God that I met as a kid. And in the middle of the service, I ran to the altar in tears, crying for my brother to live. And he made a miraculous recovery again. The doctor said to him, "I've lost better patients than you." And so I had all these testimonies growing up, but the violence and the guilt and everything was building up in me, the drug usage. And a pastor came to our house one time, and I put on my Black Sabbath t-shirt. I knew I smelled like pot. I went down the kitchen with just, I'm gonna let her have it. This pastor and her husband, and she looked me in the eyes and said, "Jesus loves you, and so do I." And it wasn't phony, it was real. And I felt the spine in my body leave. Like, how do you fight that? And the next Sunday I went to church, and I walked the aisle from the very back pew, and I gave my life to Jesus because it was a mess. And I didn't know how to handle the guilt. I didn't know how to handle the drugs. I didn't know how to get up. And I was completely free of every addiction I had. I completely stopped pot. I wasn't drinking anymore. I was clean. I left there like the weight of hell came off me. And I experienced God in so many different beautiful ways. So much so that my principal, who actually one time took a cigarette out of my pocket, an illegal cigarette, took it out of my pocket, one day was caught staring at me in the school lobby saying, "Who is this kid?" Because I was so completely changed. And he has that for every single person. He wants to bring newness. He wants to bring hope. There is no pit too deep that he can't pull us out of. And he's pursuing you like he pursued me.